Good evening, namaste, welcome, dear friends, to today's class on Jesus Christ, his life, and his teachings. We are reading from the books, The Second Coming of Christ and the Revelation of Christ, both based on the New Testament, with some excerpts from the Old Testament to give us more examples and more stories, and so on and so forth. So let us begin our class with a prayer. Let us invite the presence of God and the Gurus. Heavenly Father, Divine Mother, Friend, Beloved God, Jesus Christ, Babaji Krishna, Lahiri Mahashaya, Swami Sri Yukteswar Ji, Beloved Gurudev, Paramhansa Yogananda Ji, Friend and Guide, Swami Kriyananda Ji, Saints and sages of all religions, humbly we bow at thy feet. O infinite Christ, present in the body of Jesus and in all of us, manifest thyself in the essence of thy glory, in the strength of thy light, and in the power of thy infinite wisdom. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Let us now invoke the presence of the Gurus by singing the hymn to Brahma. Let's offer our unconditional love at the feet of the Lord. How shall I love thee, God, my God, with every breath I breathe? How shall I love thee, Lord, my God, with every breath I breathe? Just as a fire may burn the whole forest, burn to the root my desire. Just as a fire may burn Let's offer all our feelings, our emotions, our thoughts, our entire being at the feet of the Lord, that He may purify us, He may bless us, and He may embrace us and make us one with Him. The spiritual path requires a lot of perseverance, a lot of patience, a lot of prayer, a lot of practice. Let us hear a few thoughts about perseverance by Swami Kriyananda. Loyalty, my great spiritual teacher used to say, is the first law of God. Most people are fickle. They change their jobs, their spouses, their friends, their beliefs, their ideas, not because of any new expansion of awareness, but because they lack the simple power of perseverance. One must be loyal to one's principles and not allow oneself to be ruled by sentiment. To be loyal to others and to one's assumed goals in life, not for sentimental reasons, but in the name of principle, is the way of divine progress. Perseverance can be difficult, for in every undertaking there is a certain amount of dull routine. Don't be ruled, therefore, by likes and dislikes, but do whatever has to be done. If it is right, let nothing intervene until the job is finished. Let us do the following affirmation. I will finish what I set my mind to do before leaving it for something else. My word is my bond, so also is my resolution. I will finish what I set my mind to do before leaving it for something else. My word is my bond, so also is my resolution. I will finish what I set my mind to do before leaving it for something else. My word is my bond, so also is my resolution. Let's take just one more minute and decide in this moment as to what is my resolution. Do I indeed have a resolution? Do I want to achieve some goal? And if that is the case, fixing that goal in your mind right now, mentally follow this affirmation. I will finish what I set my mind to do before leaving it for something else. My word is my bond, so also is my resolution. Mentally follow this prayer. Though the sirens of distractions call me to turn aside and relax the sternness of my dedication, keep me steadfast on my path, dear Lord. My goal in life is Thee alone. Om, peace. Amen. May we be able to abide by these affirmations step by step. If not just overnight, but if we keep repeating them, if we keep working by these principles, I'm sure the promised goal is going to be within our reach. So friends, we now reach to the story section of our class. And before I start with my story, I'm very excited to tell you that a group of about 25, 26 people from West Delhi Center is going to Banaras tonight. So we're going to be boarding the train at around 11, and we're going to be reaching there by, let's say, 10 a.m. tomorrow morning. And then we are going to be visiting various places like the Kashi Vishwanath Temple, Sankat Mochan Temple, Durga Mata Temple. And of course, the house where Lahiri Mahasaya lived. We are not going to be able to enter that house because that opens only on Guru Purnima. But we will go to Satyalok, which is the house of his grandson, and where his part of his ashes are kept. We are going to be visiting also the Manikarnika Ghat, where his body was cremated. We are going to go to the Dashashwamedh Ghat, where we have that incident of Mataji coming out from the underground cave, and Ram Gopal Majumdar and Babaji and Lahiri Mahasaya having that great meeting, especially in which Mataji requested Babaji to keep his physical form for this yoga for the benefit of all the devotees. So in spirit, I wish to take all of you to the city of Banaras, and I will be sharing some pictures on the WhatsApp group, the book study group that we have, so you can be with us in spirit. And our prayers are going to be for all of us together as a family, as a spiritual family. We're all Guru Bhais, Guru sisters, and belong to one father, dear Gurudev, Paramhansa Yogananda. So just wanted to share this amazing news with you. And we now move on to our story. Now, today's story is quite interesting, and it's called The Holy Squirrel. It is narrated by Yogananda ji. And in fact, he gives a big prologue before he tells the story. So I'll first read out the introduction and the prologue that he sets. He kind of sets the base to the feeling of the story. And this is how it goes. It does not seem possible that we, who according to the scriptures are made in the image of immortal God, can cease to exist at death. Neither can we imagine, as some would have us believe, that imperfect human beings can at death merge at once into the perfect being of God. Therefore, it stands to reason that if we are cut off by death in an imperfect state, we shall have to be reborn on earth in a similar form in order to have another opportunity to perfect ourselves. We must wipe away all the stains of our errors before we can merge in God. Human beings seldom reincarnate as animals. That would be devolution instead of evolution. In rare instances, however, it happens that a person who has lived a very animalistic existence is drawn into the body of an animal to learn some lesson. This explains the thinking dogs and the thinking horses, which have puzzled scientists who have tested them. But the case of a man taking on an animal body, as described in the following story, illustrates an entirely different principle. It is said that a great saint or teacher who is highly evolved can deliberately assume the form of an animal in one or more incarnations. To prove that God is omnipresent, some saints have worked not only through the human vehicles, but also through the vehicles of lower animals, even as electricity can work in the human body as well as in a mechanical machine. God operates the life force of humans, of animals, of all the atoms. Saints who become one with him show that they also can operate through human bodies, through animal bodies, and through atoms. This was demonstrated by Jesus when he put his omnipresent life into the dead body of Lazarus. He also demonstrated by making the fig tree barren that he could shut off the life force. He thus proved that he had the power to put on or shut off life at will. Jesus, having atomic control, also fed many people with 5 loaves of bread and 2 fishes. Saint Francis also had power over animals. Birds obeyed his request to be quiet and listened to his sermons, and then flew away in the form of a cross. And a ferocious wolf became friendly and ceased its vicious habits. Saint Francis, by his omnipresent consciousness, awakened the sleeping God in the wolf and changed his nature. Therefore, just as a saint can influence animal bodies, so he can encase himself or reincarnate in any sort of body. The scriptures and literature of India contain many stories of such incarnations. So, I hope you will understand the theme of this story about the reincarnation of one of India's holy saints in the body of a mother squirrel. And now Master starts to narrate the story. Once upon a time, this saint, who had lived as a recluse, so loved baby squirrels that he wanted to incarnate as a mother squirrel so that he could actually bestow his maternal affection on the helpless little ones. Our story tells how this saint reincarnated as a mother squirrel who, with her tiny babies, lived in the top of a tree by the sea. It is said that whoever fed this squirrel became prosperous or was healed of whatever affliction he or she possessed. Because of this, many people came to know of the unusual mother squirrel and realized that the furry little body housed a great soul who had reincarnated thus to demonstrate the will of God even in the animal body. Once, when the holy squirrel had gone far away from the shore in quest of food, a storm lashed the ocean into high waves and swept away the tree with all the baby squirrels. The loving mother, on her return, discovered the dark work of the sea and commanded, "Ocean, give me back my babies, or I will destroy you." The ocean paid no attention to her warnings. The mother squirrel was subsequently seen day and night for 7 days, dipping her bushy tail in the water and then brushing it on the sand. Noting this continuous, curious, determined activity, an angel of God appeared and said, "Holy Mother Squirrel, of all strange things, your action of dipping your tail in the ocean and rubbing it on the sand is the strangest. Please tell me the reason for your unusual behavior." The squirrel replied, "Heavenly angel, the sea swallowed my babies in my absence and paid no heed to my request to return them. So I am resolved to sweep the ocean dry." The angel laughed and remonstrated, "Why, Mother Squirrel, in 7 days more you won't have any brush left on your tail with which to attempt to run the ocean dry." But the tiny mother, with the determination of eternity written on her face, replied, 1,000,000,000 lives or more will I be born again and again as a squirrel, and I will grow as many bushy tails as are required to dry the ocean. Saying this, the holy squirrel went on with her strange activity. 7 days later, the brush of her tail had almost disappeared, and yet the mother squirrel had not stopped her work. In fact, the dynamic will, in tune with the divine will, perfected in former incarnations, had prepared her to continue for as long as the world endured. And so the angel of God came back and with head bowed said, "Holy squirrel, your will is law. Please stop punishing the ocean and we will return your babies." Yogananda ji then says, "Dear student, remember, if all mortal methods of accomplishing your worthwhile desires have failed you, do not be discouraged, but rouse your slumbering, all-accomplishing divine determination. Then you will find that whatever you wish and work for will come to you naturally through the action of the divine laws of God." Om, Om, Om. This is such a wonderful story, such an inspiring story, an encouraging story. It asks us to just go on to try our best moment to moment and not get left behind or forgotten by God. We should know that God is always our friend and that He is calling us, and that we should keep persevering in our efforts to meet with Him, to love Him, to offer ourselves to Him, and to be His servant always in this life, and to serve him in whatever ways He expects of us or He wants of us. And that means serving all His children, because they're all His, they all belong to Him. And therefore, we must do our best, however little it may be, but it should be our best. And our best would mean that we do it with our heart, we involve our mind, we put all our strength and energy, and we be in the moment and give it our entire being. And always remembering at the same time that all the power that we are using is actually God's power. And it is He who is working through us to make this story of life, this beauty of life, the drama of life possible. So remembering that, let's move on to the study of the New Testament. And we are on that part of the story of Jesus where He had come down from the Mount of Temptations after having beaten Satan at his job. And then He started to pick up his disciples, and He had already picked up 5 disciples so far. Let's just reminisce what it was. He first met Andrew and Simon, Andrew and John actually. They were sent by John the Baptist to Him. And then Andrew called upon his brother Simon to meet the Messiah. And then they met Philip, whom Jesus simply said, "Follow me." And he left all his work and started to follow Jesus. And then we know how Nathanael came. And Nathanael, when Jesus saw Nathanael, he knew that he was a pure spirit. He was a son of Israel who was free from guile. And when Nathanael asked him how he knew that he was so and so, so he told him about the incident where he was sitting under a tree and Jesus knew about it. And then her master explains that how actually the tree that is being talked about is the tree of life, is the very tree inside of us, astral bodies, the causal astral bodies overlapping each other. And that is the tree that is being talked about. And actually, we are all sitting under that tree. And we should be very careful, therefore, of what we want to see, what we want to desire, what we are thinking. And because everything that a human does, human is a divine child. Every human is a child of God. Therefore, every human, to whatever degree, has the power of God in him. And therefore, whatever the human desires or thinks strongly or feels can come about to be true. And therefore, sitting under the cerebrospinal tree of our own astral spine and brain, we should be very careful. And I think the best way to utilize this lifetime is to use our mind to think of God, is use our hands and feet to work for God, is to use our heart to love God and all His children, and then use all the energy that we have to control the prana that we have, and to merge our little prana with the cosmic prana. And once we do that, then it is Master's promise that the tree, this tree will bloom. There will be flowers and fruits of self-realization. So let's all work together in that direction with a lot of perseverance, a lot of determination, and never giving up, and never falling short of the goal. Meaning, let us not settle for lesser goals, for smaller goals, for just a little peace of mind or just a little this and that success, material success in life. Yes, they are going to be en route, but let us fix our goal on self-realization, and let us not settle, just like the squirrel who determined to retrieve her lost children, even in front of the ocean. Let us now not be very determined to attain back what is ours, which is our infinite freedom, our eternal life, our immortality, the light within us. So let us be so determined that the angels, the masters, and God Himself comes and asks us, what do you want? Of course, He knows what we want. And don't think this is not possible. It is all possible. God is our best friend. God is our parent. He is our well-wisher. So He knows what we want, and He wants it for us rather. He wants our self-realization. So let's just cooperate with Him by becoming very, very determined in our quest. Okay. So, in the explanation of meeting Nathaniel, somewhere mention of Son of God and Son of Man comes, and these words keep coming again and again in the New Testament. So, when Jesus refers to the Son of Man, he is referring to the body of Jesus, which is born of the body of Mother Mary. And when Jesus talks about the Son of God, he's talking of the Christ consciousness, which is present in that body, and of course in all other bodies as well. So the words have been very carefully used, and we should also just tune ourselves to these words so that we understand clearly what we are talking. So talking about Son of Man and Son of God, all of us are both also. Our bodies are born of the bodies of our parents, but our spirit is that of God, and that is true for everyone. So it is such a good thing to hear these stories so that we can apply to ourselves and see that yes, indeed, we are a combination of both. We are not just this body. We are that power that lives through this body actually. And in fact, if we talk about the Hindu scriptures, they describe the human being as, in Hindi they say, Jad Chetan Granthi, means it is a knot of Jad is matter and Chetan is consciousness. So every human being is a combination of both matter and consciousness. So the matter is the Son of Man, and the consciousness is the Son of God. And if I were to ask you this question, tell me whether you are with form or are you formless? So most of you, I think, will answer that, oh, I am this body, so I have this form of a body. But if you just think deeply, you will find that you are both. You have a body and that has a form. So yes, you are with form, but you have also a mind which is infinite. You can just close your eyes and be on the moon right now. You can be by the beach right now. So it has infinite access at this point in time. So it is an abstract thing. Also, you are made of love. Don't you have love in your heart? Now love has no form, again, that is infinite. You have the ability to be happy. You are joy itself. Again, joy is that abstraction which can be felt, which is true, but which is infinite. Similarly, if we talk about knowledge and wisdom, none of it has a specific form, but is it inside you? Yes, it is you. So now think of it that you are both form and formless. So similarly, it's easy to, when you start thinking like that, it's easy to project it on God. And of course, then we can solve this confusion of this question of whether God has a form or is he formless. He's both. So he's both the Nirgun Brahman, means the formless God, and he is the Sagun Brahman, means the God with form. So everything is God actually, whether it appears to have a form or not, is immaterial. And in spite of being everything, he is also apart from everything. How do we explain that? It's not, again, very difficult to understand. So if we consider the sun and the sunlight, now the sunlight falls equally on everything. And the sunlight causes everything, entire life on this earth is because of the sunlight. And yet it falls on the purest of water, it falls on Mother Ganga, it also falls on the sewage water without discrimination. It falls on all the green plants, it falls on all the other desert areas, it falls on every place equally. It is the cause of everything, and yet it is untouched by whether the water is pure Ganga water or whether it is the sewage water. It itself is unaffected by what happens. Again, it is because of the sun that the plants make food through chlorophyll. Now, it is unconcerned with the fact who is utilizing sunlight in what way. Now, the diamond will reflect sunlight and the coal will absorb all the sunlight, but it doesn't matter to the sunlight. So everything actually which is with form is utilizing the power of sunlight, which is kind of infinite to an extent, not infinite in true terms, but from a human standpoint, it appears to be so. So just as sunlight is not affected by where it is falling, to whom it is falling upon, and what activities the other object is performing because of this power and light, similarly, pure consciousness is present everywhere. It is making everything work, and yet it is transcendent, means it is not bothered by what is happening. So it is up to us. Master said, it is up to you whether you want to become the charcoal or you want to become the diamond. So and he said, you must become a diamond personality, which reflects the light of God supernally, so that everything around you is lighted up. If you become the charcoal, of course, you are still God. You're still going to be God. Eventually, the charcoal will have to be turned into diamond. That may take millions and millions of lifetimes or years, but we can decide to be the diamond now. And how do we become that diamond? Is simply by following the 10 commandments, by practicing the yamas and niyamas. If we do that, our chitta is purified, our mind is purified, and a purified mind can reflect the cosmic consciousness as Christ consciousness. So we need the mind and the intellect to understand God intellectually to an extent. And when we, with karma, with bhakti, when we purify that mind, then we go beyond the mind to know that there is a light which is making the mind work, and which, when shines on the purified mind, helps us to see who we truly are. So, and this is such a beautiful scripture, beautiful teaching from Master. Master has explained all these teachings so beautifully to us. He has made it simple for us. And Kriya Yoga is definitely the airplane route to God, because Kriya in itself is a karma. Secondly, when we do it with devotion, then of course, practices like Hong Sau, where we contemplate on who we really are. So the whole path of Kriya Yoga is a combination of meditation, of dhyan, of gyan, of bhakti, and of karma. And therefore, it helps to purify the mind very quickly as compared to just one path or another other paths. And therefore, sitting on the airplane of Kriya Yoga, we can soon, in one lifetime, we can purify our minds and reflect the consciousness of God. Okay. So as we move on the story, before Master explains how Jesus meets his other disciples, he mentions here the story of Genesis. And it is important that we understand how the universe came into being. We have an idea, but let's read what the New Testament says about it, and then what are Master's thoughts on this. So I'm going to first read the direct wordings from the New Testament. And this is from the Gospel of John, chapter 1, verses 1 to 9. He had 2-3 separate books in the sense sections. One was on Genesis, one was on Revelation, and the other then the stories from the life of Christ. So this is from Genesis. In the beginning, God created the heaven and the earth was without form and void. That is, it was pure consciousness, the creative thought of God, that are the ideational causes of all beginnings. And God said, "Let there be light." And there was light, the basic building block of manifested forms, the structural essence of God's triune creation. I'm just reminded of, sorry for breaking this, I'm reminded of a song in a Hindi movie. I'm sure everybody of you has heard it. Kum faya, kum faya, kum faya, kum. So that is the Sufi version of saying that God said, "Let there be light," and there was light. So just another additional thought. Okay. So as God said that let there be light, there was light. And this is the basic building block of manifested forms, the structural essence of God's triune creation, the vibratory light of thoughtrons, lifetrons, atoms. And God said that there be a firmament in the midst of the waters, and let it divide the waters from the waters. That is the subtle, causal, and the astral worlds. And God made the firmament, that is fine vibratory etheric space, providing a background for gross manifestation and serving as a curtain to divide the physical universe from the overlying astral realm. And thus divided the waters which were under the firmament from the waters which were above the firmament. And God called the firmament heaven, the astral worlds secreted behind etheric space. And God said, "Let the waters under the heaven be gathered together into one place, and let the dry land appear." That is materialization of the gross elements into physical universe. Okay, so these are the wordings. of the New Testament. And what this basically means is, of course, we have heard Master say that first, God is pure stillness, He's absolute consciousness. So when He wanted to create, He started to vibrate a fraction of Himself, and first thoughtrons were formed, then lifetrons were formed, and then material electrons were formed, and so on. The creation came into being. And then He's here also talking of a firmament, and then how He has divided the waters and solids and so on. So if we think of the earth itself, let us first start from where what we know is, we know that even in the oceans there are so many layers. At the depths, that we have so much depths in the ocean at certain points, and we know that the organisms or the animals that live in the very deep ocean cannot survive in the upper part of the ocean, and vice versa. Similarly, we as humans, we are supposed to be breathe in air, and we don't have gills, so we cannot survive for long underwater. So similarly, people, there are organisms who live in a very rarefied atmosphere, much higher than the earth, and they again cannot survive in denser atmospheres or in water or under the land. And it is said that Master said that there is life everywhere. He said there is life even on the sun, and it is said that there may be life even at the core of the earth. And just for scientific acknowledgement, they have definitely found something on the moon of Jupiter. This one, Jupiter has 12 moons. One of them is Titan, and it is said that they have found a fluid on that moon which may be supportive of life. So this is just the human thing, but what Master said, that there is life everywhere. So just as the organisms present in one level of atmosphere or depth of water cannot survive in the other, similarly, there are so many other parallel worlds and frequencies which we are unable to see by the senses that we have. We have eyesight, which is limited to a particular frequency, hearing sense, which is also limited to a particular frequency. And so all of the senses, the faculties that we have been given, they are supposed to be present here so that we can acknowledge this world and then move beyond it. So similarly, Master says that, the astral worlds, the causal worlds, don't think that heaven is somewhere above. It's basically a parallel frequency or a parallel world which is just beyond the senses. So if you were to just be able to switch off the senses and tune into your sixth sense, the intuitive sense, then you will know that other worlds exist as well. Then you will know that you are not this body, that you are that pure consciousness and awareness that is continuous with the rest of the creation. So all of this, not only Master says that there is such a thing, he tells you how to go about it. So very simply speaking, the method of Kriya Yoga that we have been taught, it helps us to switch off these five senses, and to whatever degree, and to be focused in our heart and our spiritual life, from where it is possible to access these other worlds. And heaven may not necessarily be just a place where there is, just swans and white rivers flowing and so on and so forth. So heaven, when Master said that you can carry a portal heaven within yourself, is that you can start to live in a joy that is unconditional. So heaven on earth, as we live a human life, would be that we are in a state of unconditional joy, in a state in which we can love others unconditionally, in a state where we have power over ourselves and forget controlling others. So if we develop all those qualities, then we are living in a actually heaven which is available to us. This kind of heaven is available to us. Now this kind of heaven works even if someone is in a prison. So there have been saints who became saints in prisons. So then that means the physical environment is not so important. More important, because who's the soul was living through the physical instrument. So if you were to tune into God's grace, into the Guru's grace, and practice these teachings, then you can access, or not only these frequencies which occur at different rates, but also know that you are already one with God. So therefore it is good to understand the genesis, because then we know the sequence of creation from thoughts to energy to matter. And the main aspect of the healing techniques of Paramhansa Yogananda have been this connection. Now, the truth is, if there is a problem in material world today, as in if we have a physical trouble, there is a sickness, or even if there is a mental trouble or emotional trouble, so we know that everything starts from the vibrationless state, from thought to energy. And energy is that link which connects the thought and matter. So if we were to correct the energy, if we were to harmonize the energy flowing through various organs in our body, then we will automatically be able to harmonize the functioning of the material organs that are there. So we must remember that if we are sick in some way, then there is something wrong with the energy flowing in our bodies, something wrong with the thought processes in our mind. And if we were to, instead of just focusing on the body, if we were to just go back and try to heal the energy, try to change the energy pattern that is flowing in our body, and that will automatically bring about the change in the body. And that will automatically also, because the energy is the link, it will also help us to change the thoughts, and therefore completely deweed our minds of the subconscious things that are sown there, so that we ourselves have put there as seeds. So it is very important to remember this. Whenever in trouble, just draw back, take a moment to think, there is something up with my energy. It's not just this disease process. Now, this may be even a financial trouble that you're having in this physical life. Even that is connected to your own energy. So draw back and say, how can I change this energy? And once you can change that energy and thought by using master's practice of affirmations, by deeply meditating and going to the soul level, which erases everything that is superficial. So if you keep doing that, then we find that the disease processes go away. And that is true. Master said you should be able to heal yourself. You should be able to heal others if you are in tune with this energy. And the great masters, you may say that it is difficult to understand, because why do the great masters suffer then? It's because we know that they take up the karma of others. They themselves are pure souls. They are sinless ones. And just like Jesus was crucified, so many masters take up so many diseases from others to help the disciples. Such is the love of a guru towards the disciples. So, but we have to play our part, and we have to also try and correct the energy that is flowing through our bodies. We must do our pranayams. We must eat the right diet. We must keep the company of not only the right people, but also be in satsang with spiritual books, with scriptures, so that the energy, once the thought is corrected, then automatically the energy flow is corrected, and automatically the main disease actually is delusion, as Master said. Once we can correct that, then nothing else matters. Okay. The Master goes on to explain how when we die, not actually we don't die, only when the body is shed. So what happens then? At death of the physical body, a soul which is garbed in its astral form ascends to the astral heavens, merited by the balance of that person's good and evil actions on earth. So we should remember, so whatever frequency we go to is going to be a resonance of the frequency that we are generating right now. If our thoughts are of sadness and we leave the body in that thought, then we are going to go to spheres which resonate with that frequency. So we're going to go to the sphere of sadness. But if your thought is, or the feeling is of joy, then when you shed the body, you're going to be in sphere where there is joy. So be very, very careful again as to which station you are tuned into. Are you tuned into irritability, or tuned into sadness, melancholy, complaining, or anger? Then that's going to be your destiny. You are creating your destiny. And or else are you tuned into love, joy, freedom? You are just happy within yourself. You are just in love with God and everybody else. Then you're going to go to those spheres, or you needn't go to any sphere, and you'll be free when this body is left behind. Okay. Master says very clearly, it is not by virtue of death that one becomes an exalted angel in heaven. Be very clear on this. And Master at many places has compared a death to sleep. Now, just as when we sleep in the night and we get up in the morning, we are just the same person. Nothing has changed automatically. So similarly, if the death sleep, death is, master said, although also like sleep. So when you wake up in another body, don't think that automatically things would have changed for you. So it is now that you have to work with whatever. If there's something in your life you don't like, now is the time to change it and tune it to the highest. And if there's something you like, now is the time to expand it, means to share it with others. And that is how it's going to end up later. So everything is actually being decided by you. You just don't know it. And everything you blame on God, or you blame on the universe, or you blame on the environment. But you are the master. You should be the master. It is you who have to decide. If you say now, I am free, I have no desires, I only love God. And if with every breath you can say this, then this is your destiny. But if with every breath you are saying that, oh, I am this little human being beset with troubles and trials, and there's everything bad around me happening, all this politics, all this dirt, all this pollution, then you're going to be a crybaby forever then. So in spite of the environment, in spite of the geopolitical situation, in spite of your financial situation, if you are practicing master's techniques, if you can say to yourself that in spite of everything around me, I am a child of God, ever free, immortal bliss I am, infinite peace I am, and I will stay with this, then this is your destiny. So you decide. And then you get every moment to decide. Now this, again, life is infinite. God will give you infinite number of chances, infinite number of bodies to work it out. So it's not that there is an emergency, but the sooner you realize this truth, that you are creating your life and today and future, your suffering will come to an end, basically. And our entire endeavor to live this life is to get rid of all kinds of suffering, whether it is physical, emotional, mental, all sorts of suffering we have to overcome. It is not only our duty to overcome suffering, it is our right. And we have to work for it. Okay. Then Master says, while persons of wicked deeds are attracted to astral nether regions and may experience something akin to periodic dreadful nightmares, the majority of souls awaken in a luminous land of incredible beauty, joy, and freedom, in an atmosphere of love and well-being. So the next few paragraphs are going to describe the heaven for you. So maybe you can just sit in a meditative pose, you can close your eyes, and you can visualize that you are very much there in the beautiful astral heavens, and maybe that becomes your reality. Why not? Okay. So now Master says, the astral kingdom is a realm of rainbow-hued light. Astral land, seas, skies, gardens, beings, the manifestation of day and night, all are made by vibrations of light. Astral gardens of flowers planted on the soil of the ether surpass human description. The blossoms glow like star shells, ever changing but never fading, adapting themselves to the fancy of the astral beings. They disappear when not wanted and reappear with new colors and fragrance when desired again. Astral beings drink prismatic light from lifetronic fountains, cascading from the bosom of etheric mountains. Oceans have opalescent azure, green, silver, gold, red, yellow, and aquamarine colors. Diamond bright waves dance in a perpetual rhythm of beauty. Astral beings use all their subtle senses as physical man uses them in the dreamland. The difference is that inhabitants of the astral heaven consciously and at will control their surroundings. The earth is so full of decay and destruction. In the astral worlds, havoc caused by any dash or clash of inharmonious vibrations can be remedied just by a mere will. The astral kingdom is many times older and longer lived than this earth. Every physical object, form, and force has an astral counterpart. This astral heaven is veritably the factory of life, the world of life force from which this atomic universe is being created. But the heavenly manifestations do not have the limitations of earth life. Everything is vibrating energy. Though beings and objects there have form and substance, therefore seem solid, one manifestation can pass through another without harm or collision. Colors on the earth plane are crude imitations of astral source. Lifetronic colors are beyond human conception, far more beautiful than any sunset or painting or rainbow or aurora borealis. The most exquisite colors in nature, if blended together in scenic portrayal, still would not depict the beauty of the astral world. The mostly physical hues are such dense vibrations of their astral counterparts. In the delicacy of the astral land, neither dull skies nor blinding sun assault the senses. The astral luminosity dims all physical light, yet is never harsh or glaring. Within the astral firmament are pearly gates, which are referred to in the Revelation. These gates of the luster of pearls are the primary channels of ingress and egress between the vibratory species and the vibrationless realms of God. And for the movement of creatures and forces and souls between the worlds. The pearly luster of the Lord's creative white light, tinged with the blue of Christ consciousness, flowing into the vibratory sphere, where the astral realm is refracted into multicolors of rainbow hues. Birth and death in the astral world are merely a change of consciousness. When the physical body dies, a being loses the consciousness of flesh and becomes aware of the subtle astral form in the astral world. At a karmically predetermined time, that astral being loses consciousness of his astral form to undergo rebirth in the physical world. When the astrally garbed soul leaves the astral world at the end of its astral life, it is attracted to parents and an environment on earth, or to similar inhabited planets in other island universes, which are suited to the working out of that individual's store of good and bad karma. Now, advanced astral beings can traverse any plane or region of the vast astral heaven, traveling faster than the speed of light in a vehicular mass of luminous lifetrons. Ascending to the causal heaven of ideational consciousness, the causal beings transcend time and distance altogether in the instancy of thought, with every experience consciously willed and exquisite throb in the tranquil essence of consciousness. And then St. John goes on to say, comes back to the story of Jesus, and he says, when Jesus told Nathanael that he would see heavens open and angels ascending and descending on the Son of Man, it was a promise that man has a divine inheritance to reclaim the omniscience of spiritual perception, that heaven and its wonders can be realized in the here and now. So let us remember this as we talk of the astral spheres, as we talk of luminescence, of colors, of exquisiteness, of beauty, of love, of joy. Let us know that these are ours already. And all we need to do is to remove these layers of misunderstanding and misconception that we have developed, the conditionings that we have developed as we are living in this world. Let's, by the practice of love of God and technique of the Guru, let's remove these layers and let's re-inherit our lost kingdom, which has been ours forever. It's just that we have forgotten it for a meanwhile, for a very temporary period. Let us reclaim that, and let us know that we are divinity itself. And that is the entire purpose of the spiritual path, to know that we are God Himself. We are His children, and we are always and forever one with Him. It is only our thought that places a wall to this thought, to this freedom that we have, to this infinity that we have. It is our only thought which is blocking this. So let us just simply remove that thought, and in our heart know that we are joy itself, love itself. We are all wise, and we have the complete power of the universe behind us, within us. And we are all just one in that light. With that thought, my dear friends, let's end today's class, and let us take the vision of the astral spheres that we have just had to our, as we sleep tonight, let's think about it again. And as we wake up the next morning, let's think about it again and move on with that. Remember, with that remembrance that that is our true nature and that is who we really are. So let's just share the blessings that we have received, this blessedness, this light, with all souls everywhere, that they may be uplifted from their dark lives to supernal superconsciousness. Divine Mother, Thou art omnipresent. Thou art in all Thy children. Manifest Thy healing presence in all bodies, all minds, and all souls. Oh, 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 oh. Divine Mother, beloved Lord Jesus, may Thy love shine forever on the sanctuary of our devotion, and may we be able to awaken Thy love in all hearts. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti.